We have an extremely volatile environment exploding across parts of Iowa into parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois through the evening hours. Hail, strong tornadoes. There's a high likelihood of EF2 and maybe even higher. Hail up to 4 inches and damaging winds that could exceed 90 miles per hour. This is not a good situation. A particularly dangerous situation tornado watch has been issued for southern parts of Minnesota, also a very small part of Wisconsin, a good chunk of Iowa, a small sliver of Illinois too. These storms will push off to the east. We may see more watches issued as we see the evening progress, so have a way to stay weather aware. And another watch to the south. It includes parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and even Arkansas. And the severe weather threat rolls on into tomorrow too as this storm shifts off to the east. The dynamics will still be there. We've also got some storms into the northeast that we're going to talk about. A lot of new people stopping by. First, welcome. Thanks for coming by. My name is Travis Roberts. I am a former TV chief meteorologist that has been out of the business now for quite a while. It's funny because people have asked me, why aren't you in the business anymore? I mentioned this earlier, and those of you that work second shift know exactly what I'm talking about. I worked 5, 6, 10, and 11 o'clock news, and if you have a family, you know that's when your kids are home. I missed out on so many years of their lives, and I gave that up almost 5 years ago, and I don't regret it. But I still love weather, I love forecasting, and I hope this content is helpful for you. Let's take a look at what's going on again across the Midwest. This is the area of concern as we move through the evening hours. Very large hail possible, up to 4 inches in some areas, and those damaging winds will push off to the east. This is from the Storm Prediction Center, and you got to watch these storms too across Arkansas, Texas, even parts of Missouri, and southern parts of Illinois too. And look, just because you're not out here in this hashed area, it does not mean you're not going to see the severe weather. This is the hail outlook, and that extends to the south too through the overnight. Here's the future radar. Let's track these storms. Once we move into the 6, 7 o'clock time frame, these will be into parts of eastern Iowa, southern parts of Minnesota, southeast Minnesota, I should say, and western parts of Wisconsin. Now, the time here is Eastern time, so take off an hour for Central, so you're at 6 p.m. now, Central time. As we move into the 8, 9, 10 o'clock hour, these start to get very close to the western suburbs of Chicago, into Madison, south, all the way into Missouri now. These storms firing and moving into Arkansas, northwest Arkansas here by 8 o'clock, and then very close here to Texas now, into southeast Oklahoma. Some of these could get really strong with some hail-damaging winds, and I wouldn't rule out a tornado or two here. So if I were timing this out here, say from Milwaukee down to Chicago, look, you can see it's close to 9, maybe 10 o'clock or so here along the lake shore. Will the lake have an influence on the storms as they move east? Possibly, but the problem, I think, is the strong jet stream that's aloft. We've actually seen a warm front kind of set like this today, wedging some of that cooler air in here from the lake. But the problem is with the warm front like that, that's where you see all of the helicity and the difference of wind direction with height. So that could just cause tornadoes to spin up right along that front. As we move through the overnight hours, here we are at midnight. At this point, we're starting to see the storms move into southern parts of Michigan, central parts of Michigan, and then down into the rest of Illinois, and then now southern Missouri, almost into Kentucky, right along the Ohio River in central Arkansas. Now, will these die off as they go into Michigan? I don't know that they do, because there's a lot of upper level support as this moves off to the east. A strongly negatively tilted trough that will kick to the east into tomorrow too. Now, here's the upper level winds. This is 8 o'clock. So about the time we're seeing those severe thunderstorms, that's when the highest winds will move through. Now, if you're watching this here across central Michigan, notice the core of the strongest winds will be just to your west in the upper levels. I guess that's good. At least the strongest severe support will be to your west. It does not mean, again, you are in a zero risk for severe weather, clearly highlighted here with a slight to an enhanced risk across Michigan, also Indiana. But will Lake Michigan help you out a little bit? Maybe. Certainly won't hurt. But the significant tornado parameter, off the charts here. Again, I talked about this warm front that kind of sets like this. A lot of helicity here, a lot of spin in the atmosphere. That significant tornado parameter remains high through the evening hours. And look, even here in the parts of Michigan, you saw the future HRRR trying to just back off on those storms, but there's still anything over a 1. And I remember in college learning that that's a significant risk, something that you need to pay attention to. And if you're in an environment where thunderstorms will fire, this could be an issue. So even once we get past midnight, yes, I think things will settle down some, but we're not completely out of the woods. Dew points will be on the rise. Look how the moisture is just getting squeezed to the north out ahead of this. And there comes your dry line punching in from the west with that drier air. That'll be the instigator for the storms along the front, and that pushes off to the east overnight into tomorrow. Also, some storms possible across the northeast through the evening hours. These will settle down once we move past midnight, and now we're turning our attention to tomorrow because this is a significant severe threat here. I mean, we're looking at from Buffalo all the way to the Rio Grande here and anywhere in between. So Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, down to Kentucky, southern Indiana, and Illinois, and a higher risk, I guess. This is a 3 out of 5. It enhanced the area here from southern parts of Missouri, a good chunk of Arkansas, parts of Oklahoma and Texas, even parts of West Tennessee and Kentucky, I think, are in the game for these storms heading into tomorrow. We'll start off early in the morning with some rain showers and storms, and this could also cause some flooding, especially if they line up kind of like we're seeing here. So if we get that training going on, I could see some flash flooding, especially in these areas across Arkansas, Texas, and even in parts of Mississippi and Kentucky and Tennessee, some heavy rain here. And these could drop some hail too heading into tomorrow and some damaging winds. And yes, even an isolated tornado or two. The highest risk would be right in here, though, from Texas up into Arkansas. And I think even in these areas, you can't completely rule out a tornado with enough updraft in the atmosphere to cause hail. Significant risk of that here in the hashed out area. So another severe weather day tomorrow. And here's a look at the areas further to the east. These storms here across the northeast will really start to pick up in intensity as we move into the 3, 4, 5 p.m. hour. And then look, from central PA, maybe even down into the Shenandoah Valley, possibly closing in on D.C. by the late evening hours. And then across the Ohio Valley, across the Tennessee Valley, we've got more showers and storms here and some heavy rain lingering. And it looks like maybe even some more severe weather the day after that. So once we get this system moving into Canada and it pushes out, we've got our front stalling here. Those systems just kind of ride along that through the week. So an intense weather setup. If you like this kind of content, I hope you'll come back and subscribe. Be careful out there, guys. Stay weather aware today. Make sure you have an official source for those warnings, whether it's your phone, the EAS, a weather radio, some way to get the updates through the evening and stay weather aware. Have a great one. I'll see you next time.